Jai Hind students. Today we are going to study the third type of the future tense, that is future perfect tense. Earlier we discussed the simple future tense and future continuous tense. So today we are going to study future perfect tense. Now see the rules. First of all, the helping verbs of this tense are will have or shall have. Okay, and we have to use the third form of the verb, or we call it past participle form of the verb, right? Now here try to understand the usage of this tense. The future perfect tense is used to indicate an action that will be completed in future before a fixed time. Now try to understand. In other words, means in this tense the action will start in the future and it will be finished in future before a fixed time. Okay, now let's see an example. I shall have written all letters by 5 p.m. Now here try to understand that the action of writing the letters will be finished before a fixed time and your time is 5 p.m. Are you getting me? Okay. Now first we'll take affirmative sentences. The form subject plus will have or shall have, then your third form of the verb, main verb, past participle, and then your object. Now see the examples one by one. You will have finished this work by the end of this month. Next example, they will have cleaned all the rooms before John arrives. So now see here, you is your subject, will have helping verb, main verb, third form of the verb, and then your object. Okay, and the time is also mentioned here. Next example, they is your subject, will have helping verb, then third form of the verb, and then your object with time as well. Okay, now see here in this sentence there are two clauses. The first one is your main clause, that is they will have cleaned all the rooms. This is your main clause, and before John arrives is your subordinate clause. Okay, so now see here, the main clause have been made in the future perfect tense, right? And the subordinate clause is in simple future tense. Sorry, it is in simple present tense. Okay, now some negative sentences. The form is subject plus will, then not, then have, or if you want to use shall, then shall not have, then third form of the verb, and then your object. Now look at here, not is used. Pay attention here, not is used in negative sentences between will and have. Okay, here again also not is used between shall and have. So remember this point. Now example, you will not have finished this work by the end of this month. Another example, they will not have cleaned the rooms before John arrives. So here you is your subject, will helping verb, not, then have, and then third form of the verb, and then your object. Likewise, they is your subject, will helping verb, not, have, past participle form of the verb, and then your object. So these are the examples of negative sentences. Okay, Now the last one, interrogative ones. Okay, interrogative sentences. The form starting with helping verb, will or shall, then subject, then have, then v3, third form of the verb, and then object. Example: will you not have finished this work by the end of this month? So here we have written first the helping verb according to the structure, then subject, you is your subject, then if you want to use not, then you have to use not between subject and have. Okay, finished, then third form of the verb, and your object. Next, will they have cleaned the rooms before John arrives? So again the same structure has been followed here. Next type of interrogative sentences which start with WH words, or we call it question words. Okay, so WH word structure is WH words, then helping verb, then subject, then have, then third form of the verb, and then your object. And your example is here: when will they have reached Agra? So when, WH word, will helping verb, then subject, then have, obviously we have to use here, then your third form of the verb, and then your object. So this was your future perfect tense. Now come to the last type of the future tense, that is future perfect continuous tense. The helping verbs of this tense is will have been or shall have been. Okay, so we are adding what? Been also with will have or shall have. Okay, and we use ing form of the verb in this tense. Now the usage. Now here it is very important to understand the usage of this tense. Now in this tense we come to know that an action will continue in future. Try to understand. In this tense, the action will be started in the future. Okay, and it will be going on or will be in progress for a certain period of time. Again, I am explaining in my own words that in this tense the action will start in the future, it will continue in the future as well, and it will be going on and or it will be in progress for a certain period of time. Okay, now the examples. First we will take the affirmative sentences. The form is subject, will have been helping verb, then ing form of the verb according to the rule, and then your object. So first example, they will have been talking for over an hour by the time he arrives. Now see here, the action started in the future. It is also going on in the future for over an hour, okay, by the time he arrives. So the action starts in the future actually, and it goes on in the future for a certain period of time, and it is still going on in the future. Okay, now the next example, I shall have been living in Modinagar for the next 2 years. So here again the action of living in Modinagar will be going on for the next 2 years. So the time is mentioned here. So this is the examples of affirmative sentences. Now we come to the negative sentences. The form, see the form structure, subject, will or shall plus. Now where we have to use not between will or shall and have. Okay, it is important. Note it. Then been, and then ing form of the verb, and then object. Example, I shall not. Look here, I have used here not between shall and have. I shall not have been working in this office by the end of this week. I is your subject, shall helping verb, then your not word, then have been also helping verb, and then your ing form of the verb, main verb, and then your object with a certain period of time. Next example, he will not have been practicing the piano for 3 years by 2017. Again, he is your subject, then will, then not word, then have been helping verb as a part of the helping verb, and then your ing form of the verb, then your object with a certain period of time. So these are the examples of negative sentences. Now come to the last, interrogative sentences. First we will do starting with helping verb. So will or shall, first we will write will or shall, then subject, then have been, and then ing form of the verb, and then your object. Example, will Sonia have been sleeping for 2 hours by 6 p.m. Okay, so according to the form we have written here will, then your subject Sonia, then have been, then ing form, and then your object. Again, the interrogative sentences which starts with WH words. First we will write question words, or we call it WH words, then will or shall, then your subject, then have been, then ing form, and then your object. Okay, see the example. How long will Sonia have been sleeping by 6 p.m.? So how long is your WH word, then your will, then subject, then have been, then ing form, and then your object with a certain period of time. So this is the example of interrogative sentences. Now this is how your tense chapter is over. Thank you.